Hello, welcome to the Belgian beer seminar. I'm Frankie, I'm an arrogant bastard, and been doing this for a few years now, and well, back at Revision Online, obviously. Sadly not again in Saarbrücken, but you know, we'll have to make the best of it, which we will, absolutely. So, it helps if you have the beer box that you could order with you. And we'll talk about that later, obviously. But first of all, while you're running to get the beer box because you forgot, let's go through some things here. So, this is me. These are my slides. And every now and then, I live in the corner here. That's going to be the default setting. So, 8 Belgian Beer Seminar, second online version for Revision Online 2021. Hello. Good evening, happy that you're here. As always, in the Belgian Beer Seminar, except the beers, we're talking about the compromise that is Belgium. Specifically, this time, how to break your own world record in government formation. That's what we're going to talk about this seminar. Don't worry, it's going to be funny. Well, we tried. So, an introduction. So, who is me? I'm Frankie, the Royal Belgian Beer Squadron, Accession, Padua, Baas, and some other groups. What I do, I sell cables at consolecables.be. I run a weekly Twitch stream every Sunday at 8 p.m. on Chips and Bricks, and professionally I'm an IT infrastructure project manager. You can also find me on Untapped. This is my username there. You can send a connection request. If you do, please send me a small message on Discord so I know who goes with which user. It's always easier so I can put like a face or a demo scene name on it. And that's it. For the record, I won't be drinking during my seminar. I never drink during my seminars because I have to remain coherent. A disclaimer, which is always there. You might not be drinking things which are in a hygiene-controlled environment in relation to the EFSA, so you don't have to drink. You can always leave the bottle closed. Just so that's covered. Good. Now, we've shipped out a few beer boxes, and actually so many that we had 3 versions of them. You will find out which version you have in the little cardboard sheet that's in the box. There's 3 versions, version 1, 2, and 3. They're all listed here. We will go through all the beers that are on here. The last 2, Bogaerden and Mesthop, they're universal. And then for the other ones, the one in version 1 has a different beer number 1 than versions 2 and 3. Same one goes for the second beer, our white IPA, and then for the third beer, box 1 and 2 have the same, while third box has a little different one. Same for beer number 4, by the way, so there you go. In total, 145 boxes sold. Version 1, 52, 57 for the second one, 29 for the third one, and 7 unaccounted for randoms, well, whatever it gives. Anyway, you'll always get something. Most successful was sent to Germany and Finland, Belgium, UK, Sweden, Poland, Hungary, Netherlands, Switzerland, Italy, and Portugal, and then some unknowns. Why? Because if everybody orders with a gmail.com or an outlook.com address, I don't know all of you, and I don't know in which country you live. So there was some guesstimating. We did not get this from the store. We had to like bit of guess with email addresses who lived where and which people I know. So we shipped to all of these countries, which is not a bad result. And because of some political decisions that this country has made in the past, there is one country that has shipped all the packages back because suddenly alcohol was no longer allowed to be mailed over. Sorry about that. Out of our control. It happened. We had good shipments with the ordering company, but yeah, that seems to have failed later on. So apologies for that, but one way or another, we'll make it up. Good. Let's start, because I know you're all thirsty. The first beer, if you have box number 1, that is going to be the Sour Before Christmas. It is made by brewery De l'Hermitage out of Anderlecht. It's a sour IPA with a 5.4% alcohol percentage. You see the QR code, by the way. If you have Untapped handy, you can scan this and you will go immediately to the beer and you can check it in easily. See? Yay, technology. Should you have... Oh no, wait, I'm too early. On the brewery itself, it started in 2017 in a shed in Anderlecht. Anderlecht is to the southwest of Brussels, by the way, mostly known for its football team, because they used to be the best in Belgium, but now sadly they no longer are. Mostly distributed in Brussels, as most of the Brussels beer, they do some local bars or some local shops, and that's going to be it. Not filtered, not pasteurized, and they do have some nice iconography on their things and nice names. Best one is the Emperor's Theorem, which is Le Théorème de l'Empereur in French. I translated it to English. Infused with green tea and jasmine flowers. I'm not sure if I would like that, but if that's your thing, then sure, by all means. And then the usual pale ales and wheat ales. We try to limit the amount of doubles and triples because show something else from Belgium. Everybody can do doubles, triples, and quads and heavy beers. So we just stick at this. If you have box number 2 or number 3, it's Vol Doré by brewery La Petite Bressenne. It's a sour and wild ale, and specifically here it uses the liquid yeast, the yeast cells from Orval. When you have your Orval bottle, right at the end you have the residue. If you can harvest it and just start growing it, and then you have the specific yeast that Orval is using, and that's one has been grown and cultivated, and that's what this beer is made with, which is, not uncool. And to give you an idea, it's actually a picker brewery, so they can brew in liters of 300 liter batches. They have some smaller fermenters, and they are from a town called Vos-la-Ville, which is located between Charleroi and Namur in the francophone part of Belgium. So let's look what Belgium is good at, because while you're enjoying the beer, what is Belgium good at? So it's obvious. We're good at music, so there is a front 2 for 2, of course. We're good at making goalkeepers in Commodore shirts. It's Jean-Marie Pfaff when he was at Bayern München and won several prizes. There's Wout van Aert, because Belgium is really good on putting somebody on a bicycle and just rolling it through the mud up and down a circuit for an hour, and then, declare that we're the best in the world. Soccer players, Romelu Lukaku, for instance, in his Italian jersey here. We have people who can run very fast and throw things very far and jump very high. Is Nafi Thiam, and it's Belgium, so we are still known for keeping children locked up in basements. That's a joke, which will never get old. So, and what are we also good at? Beer and chocolate, obviously, and not the fake mountain marketing. The proper chocolate. That's what you need, and which will excuse me, which is what you will get. So, quickly to recap Belgium, what it is. We've gone through this before, but still a small recap is good. Belgium is a federal country, split up into regions and communities. So they all have their own governments, they all have their ministry secretaries, their own rules, and important to know is that none of them outranks the other. So the federal level, which is what the main government is, cannot overrule a lower level at, for instance, the Flemish or the Francophone level, or Brussels. They have to fight it out in court, and that's always lots and lots and lots of fun. So, to recap, there's 3 regions: the Flemish, the Walloon, and the Brussels capital. There's 3 communities: the Flemish, the French, and the German-speaking. And all of this has its own responsibility. One does most economical things, other does personal things, education, sports, culture, media. The federal government also exists, is still there. high-level stuff, international relations, budget, energy, defense, justice department, talking to the European Union, international treaties, stuff like that. And that's the one we're going to focus here on today, because that's always has been a lot of fun to get together. So all in all, don't forget, they all have a government, has 3 regions, 3 communities, 1 federal, total is 6. Why? Because the Flemish region and community, they merged into 1 government, Francophone area, they didn't do it. That's why 3 plus 3 plus 1 in Belgium equals 6. So get used to it. So meanwhile, let's continue with the second beer. In your first box, you will have found the White Lodge, which is by brewery No Science, a white IPA, yummy, 5.5% alcohol, and this brewery is located inside of Brussels, and the thing is that they want to do something different. So as said before, these are not fans of the doubles, the triples, the Trappists, all the default white beer like Bogaerden. They want to focus on something else. So they do the IPAs, the porters, the bitters, the single hops, and they don't go for the high alcohol level, because that's easy with a Belgian beer. You just ferment it 2, 3, 4 times, add extra sugar, get lots of alcohol, really sweet. People drink it, yay! But we can do other things, and this is one of them. They currently produce 7 beers, many influenced by English types of beers. You see with the porters and the bitters, and it's brewed in Brussels near the Tour and Taxi site. Tour and Taxi site is a historical site next to the canal. It used to be an old warehouse, by the way, with a large freight train station when that was still the international freight of choice instead of trucks, with large buildings, large warehouses. Today they're being renovated, by the way, into nice office buildings, and also the Brussels Pixel Museum has a house there, all retro gaming, retro computing things. To be honest, I've visited it a few weeks ago. Everything is behind glass, which is fine. You have an overview, but if you really want to go out and play with the things and fondle around and actually touch all this old hardware, I think the Home Computer Museum in Holland, near Eindhoven, is a better choice. So if you're there and you have a choice, go there. But sadly, Eindhoven is not in Belgium, so we cannot discuss the topic here. Else we happily would. So that's for Tour and Taxis. If you had box number 2 and 3, there is White Spirit by brewery H2O, not of TRSI, but from Elsene, another white IPA, bit of lower alcohol, but that's perfectly fine. We don't have to go for the high alcohol all the way. We'll do that at the end of the seminar, by the way. And brewery H2O, one-man project. We'll have a few actually later on. Olivier Huans does it. They make 3 beers, or he makes 3 beers. Al Capone, a bitter, Blocus, triple. A triple, well, you have to have one. And then White Spirit, which is this one. But that's not, we're here about to talk about the beer and how it all goes and how it all relates. So that's what we're going to do. Let's look at government formation, because Belgium is not as bad when it comes to, taking its time. Well, close to 200 days in 2007, which is, 4th place worldwide back then. Not as good as the Netherlands. 1977, they needed 208 days. And Iraq needed close to 250 days in 2009. And Cambodia, 2003, 2004, 353 days. There we go. That was it in 2011. In 2011, Belgium said, hold my beer, and we can do this better. Because 541 days of government formation, which is one government quits, and the final one, which stays in power for a few years, is put in place and everything goes. In between, you can have temporary governments and elections and minority government. It all doesn't matter. You need to go from one fix to another, and that was 541 days back in 2010, 2011 to get to the Goupil government. Well, only one, I think, so there's no 1 or 2 there. So that's what we're going for. But, as always, and don't be very low in self-esteem, bit of audio things here. You can do better. You have to believe in yourself. So that's the thing. So yeah, back in 2018, there was a federal government. That's from government by Charles Michel one, held by 4 political parties. Only one francophone, the MR, the Mouvement Réformateur, liberal francophone party. It's okay. And then they were on the Flemish side, and it's always a balance in Belgium, which is difficult to find, and this is a thing. Different seminar, by the way. 3 parties: Christian Democrats, the Liberals, and the conservative Flemish Nationalist Party, the NVA. At that point in time, there was a treaty on migration, which is an important topic for nationalist parties, and okay, they left. So our day counter starts now at 0. There were elections scheduled in May 2019, so we just stay at that. We don't have early elections. It was together with the European ones. We're very stupid. So, minority government, just stay as you are and go on. That was, day count is 0. Until elections, not much happened. 170 days later, there are elections, and if you remember your first slides in the seminar about how Belgium works internally, you can see that the North voted Flemish nationalist, because that's where the Flemish people live, and some of them think that way. And in the South, it's a mix of the blue and the reds, with some green left and right, mostly in the cities. So that's it. Now, you have to work together in this, and this, of course, is not really easy, so you're stuck. How can you do this? Well, that's really easy at what you do in Belgium. When you have to take your bearings, see where you are, you want to know what you do, you get a beer. Third beer in the box that you will find if you have version 1 or number 2 is Portal, which is made by brewery Atrium in Marche-en-Famenne, a session IPA. So I'm really happy, by the way, that Belgium is starting to do a good load of IPAs. It's always really good and helpful that it's more than the classical ones. So yay for that. And when you look at this brewery, opened in December 2018 and located in Marche-en-Famenne, which is actually pretty close to Luxembourg. That's the country, not the city, and in the province of Luxembourg, in Belgium, obviously. Pretty decent production facility, as you can see from the picture, and a pretty decent selection of beers that they have. So they have both their special range, which is on the left, and their core range on the right. And looking at their labels, I actually have to say they're very demoscene, which is something good. See some spirals. There's particle showers. There's deformations. There are tunnels. There's a bit of everything there. So if you have this and you have this beer with you, it's very demoscene, which is nice. If you had the third box, you have the Jean Bleu Splash, which is made by Jean Bleu Beer, our original low alcohol with a session IPA, and is brewed with lots of mango, peach, and hops. So that's going to be a very special taste. Also, if you're drinking it from a glass or from the bottle, you're doing it wrong. This is intended to be drunk with a straw. So go to your kitchen, go to your summer stash, get a straw, and drink it properly, because it's always important to drink a beer out of the proper glass. Now, for this seminar, because you're at home and you don't have all the glasses, it's okay, you have a waiver. You won't be angry, but keep it in mind, the glass culture in the Belgian beer culture is extremely important. And people adhere by it, certainly in bars. At home, it's fine. In bars, give you the one glass. That's a reason to say, get me a nice one. So, now you know. Jean Bleu Beer, Jeanbleu.beer in uppercase, by the way, but this font only has uppercase, is located near the Abbey of Jean Bleu, which is somewhere between the Namur and Charleroi region. operated by the University of Liège, the Students Association, and some commercial partners. Currently, they make 3 beers: a Pils, a Splash, a Spirit, all named Jean Blou for easy identification. Now, the abbey itself, very typical for an abbey story, by the way. Founded in 945, 1,000 year difference. It flourished for good 80 years, 955 to 1136. It burned down and never really grew back. Since 1860, it's a building used by the University of Liège / Jean Blou, and that's where it gets its name from. Now, if you have seen previous seminars, or you were lucky enough to attend them before we had to declare a full house in Saarbrücken, if we looked at all the Trappist beers and all the Abbey beers back then, this is a pattern that you will see a lot. There's an old abbey or an old monastery in the Middle Ages. They make money, they get corrupt, it burns down, somebody rebuilds it, there's a revolution, usually the French one. Things go kaput, nothing happens, and then say, hey, let's put the name of the monastery or a picture of the church, looking at you there. Is it Chimay? No, it's not. It's Sine, that's it. Sine is just a picture of a church that they license. And then there's beer. So that's the Abbey beer workflow, and it matches for 90% of them. Take that in mind. Most of it is simply marketing because a brewery gets a license fee. But we were looking for a government because we had elections. We had our elections that were 160 days after the government fell, so let's start. There were 2 guys, Reinders and Van der Lanotte. One was a French liberal, one was a Flemish socialist. They said, okay, sure, let's hold the information about, let's see what can work. Cool, let's go. They do their thing, and then say, we have a plan, there's a pre-formation. It's like, we know what we're going, we have a plan, we're going for it, yup-de-da. We're going to have a government really, really, really soon. Bourgeois and the Motte, Flemish nationalist and a socialist, said after 303 days, we got this, it's fine. Well, obviously there was a problem because Charles Michel got appointed president of the European Council. He got promoted for doing basically a shitty job. And you need a replacement. So while Charles Michel went to Europe, where today he still is, there is Sophie Wilmès became our first female prime minister of Belgium, so kudos to that. But yeah, why? Well, people said, well, she's the only one in the political party who speaks Dutch. Well, could be, and actually true, but all in all, she really tried really hard and did a proper job. She could have done much worse, so she cared, and that's absolutely positive, and props for that. Now, the thing is, with all these changes, you say, well, who's in control, and who are the leaders? And if the aliens show up at your doorstep and say, take me to your leader, and you don't know, well, then let's just have a beer. So that's the 4th beer in your box. Version 1 has Renart by a brewery, Le Goupil, from Rosière. It's an amber ale. I like amber ales myself, actually, so that's cool. And by the way, our counter is at 322 at the moment. It's a brewery started May 2018. Has 400 liter capacity per batch, and there's distribution in Rixensart, which is the southeast region of Brussels. They make 4 beers: Renard, Isengrais, Chantecler, and Damhersan. All these names are from the medieval stories of Renart the Fox, Renard the Vos, medieval folk tales, which could sound familiar to you if you're from the region. So that's what they base themselves on, which is cool. Rixensart itself, mentioned in 12th and 13th century, mostly farmland as always, and it was till the train came in the 19th century. You had connection to the cities. People could go to work. People from the city could come to the farmland and look at the peasants. That's what happened. But the good thing is they brought money in, so people started living there, got a bit bigger. Nice town for industrial workers to live. and then go to work and kill themselves basically. Box 2 and 3, Ros Saison by Brewery L'Annex from Saint-Gilles of Saint-Gilles in Brussels. Another amber ale, a little bit higher on the alcohol, 6% here, by the way. I like the font. It's a very Amiga font, so I like the font on the bottle. The brewery itself is in Saint-Gilles. It's south of Brussels, tip of Brussels. If you ever end up going to Brussels by train on the TGV, the high-speed train from Paris, or the Eurostar from London, that's where you will end up. You will end up in Saint-Gilles at the southern part of Brussels, just as an information. So, to speed it up a bit, Real Mess is there. And they have to look for a final agreement. So we have a socialist, Magnette, who says, I'll have a go, goes nowhere. Then there's a Christian Democrat and a liberal, Koens and Boucher, nothing happens. Then there is Geens, a Christian Democrat, nothing happens. And then there's Larivel and De Waal, which are two liberals. And, a few days have gone, a few 100 days, and we're still nowhere. So, okay, is this not working? It's like, you throw things in the air. It might work, it might not. It's a bit of an issue. And then you declare, yeah, sure. I'm afraid you're stuck. You're very blocked, and you're going nowhere, and that's where you are. And there's nobody who's coming to pull you free. So, yeah, you're going nowhere. Nowhere, by the way, is excellent track on Therapy's 1994 album Troublegum. I can totally recommend it. But then, something happened. And what's this something? You had to suddenly start wearing masks and stay home and not go to school anymore. And people were going into the hospitals with respiratory problems and started dying. So yeah, that was a bit of a problem. So, Wilmès got an upgrade and got a full-time government, but still minority, so that still doesn't count in our government counter. So at day 464, we are basically where we left before the elections. That's over a year. That's an achievement. If you were playing Xbox Live, you would get an achievement unlocked sticker somewhere. So, that's what it is. But, are we there yet? Well, of course not. 520 days in, we get these guys, Magnette and Rousseau. Magnette we know from before at the Francophone Socialist. Rousseau is the leader of the new Flemish Socialist Party, because they voted the old one out because they were going nowhere. So this, and then 521 days in, something happened. We broke our own world record. 542 days without a government, and counting, on July 2nd, 2020. And there was a big party, everybody was outside, the Belgian flags were waving, people were singing in the streets, full market squares, jumping up and down. Didn't happen? Of course not. Pandemic was going on. If he would have done it, would have looked like this. Which is really stupid. So, what did all the Belgians do? They got a beer. They got a Bogaerden. The fifth beer, it's the same in all boxes. It's easy. Brewed by Brewery is Flemish, Brewery Sako in Pepingen. 7.5% alcohol, double wheat triple. Higher alcohol, triple. One goes with the other, as we have discussed. Bit of a smaller thing again, but fine. Lovely brick walls and some stainless steel vats to put all the beer in. Microbrewery, again, small production. They have two beers, Bogaerden and Monnick's Bos Bier, in the Pajot, southwest of Brussels, the same region as where many beers are, because you are near the Zenne River. If you remember last year's seminar about the beers of Brussels, then this will have been a thing also in previous seminars when we were in the Ewerk in Zuidbruggen, by the way. So, there we go. Pajottenland, itself, well, they have something with horses, and is the birthplace and the region of the Lambic beers. And this is the actual touristic sign when you enter the region. So you have a Lambic beer, a horse, people working on the field. It's historically, it has been the food production area for the city of Brussels. So you have two rivers there, Dender and the Zenne, lots of farmland, lots of agriculture activity, and that still goes on even today. So you have now been tasting beer from the Pajot. But where were we? So we're gonna continue a bit more, because again, the Liberal Party in Francophone got the new boss, Boucher. Lachaert was there on the Flemish side, and then Koens was still running around for the Christian Democrats. So yeah, they basically both had a beer, had a fight, tried again. 556 days later, still nothing happened. Now, at that point in time, remember the election map, that north of Belgium was voting Flemish nationalist, and the south of Belgium, the Francophone part, was voting differently. So what do? There's a new challenger. And that challenger was Bart de Wever, the leader of the Flemish nationalists, together with Paul Magnet, basically their political adversaries, their counterpoles. They say, we'll never do something together, we can do it, yada, yada, yada. In the end, said, okay, sure, then give it a go, work something out. 589 days later, we are slowly creeping up on basically 2 years. So people in the street, they don't care anymore, it's all the same, so But, these guys are going at it. So again, then there's Lachaert, who's coming in, and you cannot make fun of people's names, but sometimes it's te lachen, so that just happens. And then Lachaert and Rousseau, they're coming together. So with 635 days, we're getting somewhere. Don't know where, but is the final countdown. It's De Croo and Magnet, liberal and socialist, said, okay, let's make something purple. And to make it good, we need to add something green in there as well. And because they needed a bit more oomph on the Flemish side, they put the Catholic Party, Christian Democrats, in there as well. Now, note that what they came up with on the Flemish side has a minority, but on the Francophone side has a majority, but in total, they're big enough to form a government. Flemish right wing didn't like this, so there was some screeching. Well, there still is, by the way. But all in all, after 662 days, there was a new government. And there was great rejoicement. And what do you do when you have a government? You go to the king. And you go to the king on the stairs of the parliament, and you take the official picture, all nice in corona-proof distance. King, by the way, is over there, King Philip. It's not Paul King, and it's not this queen either. Also, picture looks nice, it looks symmetrical. However, if you look at the picture again, you will see it's symmetrical, but someone left the door open. And if you're OCDing, that's, not a thing. So, that being said, there is a beer left. And that's Mesthop. Mest is manure, hop, or hops. You're not drinking manure, anyway. It's made by brewery for Pajot, Vier Pajot. Also in the Pajottenland, obviously. 8.5% alcohol is the highest of the seminar. So if you have been drinking all these beers real time in the last 35 minutes, you're not going to stand up anymore, and you are going to miss a lot of revision tonight, so sorry. It's a triple, and it's no longer made So we have like the last of the batches here, like a little special thingy, and it is brewed with chicory root. Chicory is a specific thing from Belgium, Flanders, and we'll get back to that later. But the brewery itself, founded in 2012, again a one-man operation, Raymond de Sager, and takes the time to brew. So 200 liter batch takes 10 weeks to complete. Sorry. And that takes a while, low throughput, low bottle, so like this is something that you might not find anywhere else outside of some local stores in Brussels. And then the chicory, well, or Belgian endives as they're also called, they're normally, if you make them for chicory, for to put in your coffee or whatever, you keep it above ground, it turns green, and you munch up the leaves. If you, however, keep it underground, it becomes nice and white. And the chicory on the top, you sell on the market. It's for salads or other food, and the root itself, that is what is used in the beer. This is awesome, cool. Looking at what you can do with the food-wise, you can basically boil it, wrap it in ham, cover it in cheese, throw it in the oven for a while so that the cheese gets nice and crispy, add some mashed potatoes, and go nom 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 nom. Don't be afraid because it's bitter. Try it out. If you're in Belgium, get you wheatloaf rolletjes met FRaNKy's or just chicken with ham and cheese in the oven and go with it. Now, looking at where we were. Who rules the world? Belgium does. Because if you look at all the government formations, and this is something that will happen again, I'm pretty sure. We now rule the top 6 with 3 of the entries. So I think that deserves some applause that although we are going nowhere, this thing is still around. And that's, unless you're still drinking your first beer right now, is more or less the seminar. I want to say thanks to some people. First of all, Tanguy and Julien from my beer box for handling the 145 boxes sent to 85 different addresses. That's 1.7 boxes per person, 870 bottles total. Also thanks to the secret RBBS channel for validating the beer lists. I know this is usually a lot more fun when we do it in person in Saarbrücken, but you know, we're doing this anyway. Because it's tradition, and tradition is there to be upheld. Don't tell the nationalist parties that. Anyway, if you see them no longer in government, we have covered this. So, for revision, the Shader Showdown is coming up. Enjoy that. I'm pretty sure Defox and Doja will tell you a lot more about it than I currently can at the moment. I promise to keep this under 45 minutes. That's gonna work unless I really start talking arrogant bastard now. But no. Thank you for attending the beer seminar, even if it was virtual, and thank you for ordering the beer boxes. I think the guys from my beer box, you can keep them in your address book. They do a pretty good job, and they have some nice boxes, so give them a go. That's it. Submit your entries if you still can, because some deadlines are behind us. And that's it for me here at the Belgian Beer Seminar. 8th edition, second online edition, hopefully the last online edition. Let's really, cross fingers and don't jinx it. And thank you for attending and watching. And any questions, there's the Twitch chat and Discord. I'll be around. Thank you. Have fun. Goodbye.